There's a quiet kind of strength that lives in the homes of older people. You won't hear it shout, you won't see it boast, but when you walk through their doors and find everything in its place, the floors swept, the air still, you're witnessing something powerful. Because older people with clean homes aren't just tidying up. No, they're practicing discipline, they're guarding their peace, they're choosing order over chaos every single day. This isn't just about keeping things neat, it's about keeping the spirit strong. It's about waking up each morning and saying, I still have purpose, I still have standards, I still care. That, my friends, is what they do. Every day, they start the day with intention, not reaction. Before the world rushes in with noise, demands, and distractions, older people who keep clean homes take a moment to center themselves. They do not leap out of bed chasing a to-do list or scrambling to catch up with the world. They rise slowly, deliberately, with purpose. Whether it's a quiet moment with a cup of tea, a few deep breaths by the window, or a prayer whispered into the stillness of morning, they begin their day on their own terms. This is not about routine for routine's sake, it's about ownership of time. There's wisdom in that pause. It sets the tone. They understand that the way you begin anything often shapes the way you continue it. When you start from a place of calm intention, you invite order into the hours that follow. And that order shows itself in their environment. In the way the bed is made with care, in the way breakfast is prepared without rush, in how every object in the home seems to have its rightful place. This isn't a performance for others, it's a quiet act of self-respect. They know that reacting to the day means surrendering control to circumstances, to other people's priorities. But starting with intention, that's power. That's saying, this is my space, this is my rhythm, and this is how I choose to show up. And from that grounded beginning, every task becomes a choice rather than a chore. Even something as simple as wiping a counter or folding laundry carries weight, because it flows from a place of order, not overwhelm. It's a mindset that keeps them steady in a world that's constantly shifting, a mindset built not in haste, but in presence. They treat their home as a reflection of their inner world. For them, the state of their living space isn't just about appearance, it's about alignment. When you walk into their home, you're stepping into a mirror of their values, their thoughts, their peace. A clean, well-kept space isn't just something they maintain out of habit. It's something they nurture because it says something about who they are on inside. Each room, each corner carries the imprint of their mindset. The tidiness, the arrangement, the simplicity. It all speaks of a person who has made peace with themselves and taken responsibility for their surroundings. They understand that chaos in the environment often echoes chaos in the mind. That's why they don't allow clutter to pile up or neglect to take root. Dust left untouched, laundry left in a heap, dishes ignored. These things weigh on the spirit, and so they keep their space in order, not out of vanity, but because it brings clarity. They don't need grand designs or expensive decor. Instead, they fill their space with meaning. Family photos, worn but loved furniture, a favorite chair placed near the light. Everything is intentional and everything has its story. This respect for the home is a form of emotional hygiene. When the world outside feels uncertain or overwhelming, their home becomes a sanctuary, not because it's perfect, but because it's cared for. They know that the way they tend to their home is the way they tend to themselves, patiently, thoughtfully, without rushing. It's a quiet discipline that speaks louder than words. A clean home, them, is not about impressing anyone. It's a reflection of their steadiness, their order, and their commitment to live with dignity, no matter what season of life they are in. They maintain routines that create stability and peace. In a world that constantly changes, older people who keep clean homes rely on daily rhythms that anchor them. These routines aren't rigid schedules or mindless repetition. They are sacred patterns that bring calm to the day and meaning to the ordinary. From the moment they wake up to the way they close their day, there is a quiet structure guiding their steps. Mornings might begin with opening the curtains to let in the light, making the bed neatly, or brewing tea with practiced hands. These small actions are not chores, they are rituals that bring grounding. Throughout the day, there's a rhythm to how they move through their space. Perhaps they clean as they go, never letting mess linger. Maybe there's a specific time for watering plants, wiping down the kitchen table, or folding clothes while soft music plays. These tasks become part of the heartbeat of the day, not interruptions to it. In this consistency, there is a kind of freedom, because when life feels predictable, even in its simplicity, the mind finds rest. They don't have to wonder what comes next. They've built a flow that holds them steady. It's not about being busy, it's about being intentional. There is comfort in the repetition, in the sense of control it brings. And when life throws its challenges, as it always does, these routines act as a stabilizing force. They remind them that some things are still in their hands. They may not control the world outside, but within their home, within the framework of their day, they can create order. That order nurtures peace. It protects the mind from becoming scattered, the emotions from becoming overwhelmed. In a world that often feels rushed and chaotic, their steady routines are a quiet form of resistance that restores balance and strength. They find dignity in the small, consistent actions. For older people with clean homes, it's not the grand gestures that define their strength. It's the quiet, steady choices they make every single day. Wiping a table, folding a blanket, sweeping the floor. These aren't just tasks to cross off a list. These are affirmations of value, of pride, of self-respect. Every action, no matter how small, carries intention. They don't wait for special occasions to care for their home. They don't clean only when guests are coming. They do it for themselves because they believe they are worth the effort. There is a deep sense of purpose in this way of living. The act of cleaning a sink until it shines or organizing a drawer that no one else will see isn't wasted energy to them. It's an act of order in a world that doesn't always make sense. It's their way of saying, I'm still here. I still matter. There's no audience, no applause. Just the quiet satisfaction that comes from a job done well, a corner of the world made better through consistent care. These small actions become a kind of discipline, a form of self-leadership. They remind themselves through their habits that even when age has slowed their steps or changed their bodies, they still have power. Power to choose, power to act, power to shape the environment around them. And in that choice, again and again, they find dignity. Dignity not handed to them by the world, but earned through patience, consistency, and a refusal to let life make them passive. Every dish washed, every surface dusted, every item returned to its place is a quiet declaration that they will not let themselves fade away. They will keep showing up. They will keep caring. They clean not out of necessity, but out of self-respect. Older people with clean homes, the act of cleaning goes far beyond keeping up appearances or maintaining hygiene. It is a personal statement, a declaration that they still care about themselves, their space, and the life they've built. They don't clean because someone told them to. They don't tidy up just to meet a standard. They do it because it affirms their sense of identity. It says, I am still present. I am still engaged. I still take pride in who I am. Cleaning becomes a form of self-care, not in the modern, flashy sense, but in the grounded, quiet way that shows deep inner strength. Their home may not be extravagant, but it is cared for. The floor is swept not because it was filthy, but because they believe in starting fresh. The dishes are done promptly, not because anyone is watching, but because they believe their time and space deserve respect. These actions reflect a person who hasn't given up on life, who hasn't surrendered to neglect or apathy. There's something deeply human about this. As people age, many aspects of life may feel out of their control. Health changes, relationships shift, the world moves faster. But in cleaning, in keeping their environment orderly, they claim back a measure of control. And not just control, but dignity. It's a discipline rooted in love for oneself. Even on the days when energy is low or the body aches, they do what they can. A wiped counter, a fluffed pillow, a swept hallway, these aren't just chores. They're acts of reverence for the life they've lived and the person they still are. Through cleaning, they don't just care for their home, they care for their spirit.